Hey, what's up? I'm Rafael di Furia, aka Rafi D is me, and I am back at it again on another beautiful Friday night. Last week, I had some extra footage from what I recorded, but I felt as though that it didn't quite match with the subject matter of that video. I've gotten a lot of questions on there that I wanted to try to answer to the best of my ability. But of course, as always, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and it could become a video at some point. But before we get too much deeper into the video, if you would like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian citizenship, and more, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like, I would really appreciate it, as it does help out the channel. And also, for those of you who are interested in supporting the channel, big thank you to those of you who already are on Patreon. You can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon, or if you want to help out just one time, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/support. Or if you are still looking for something for Christmas, there's all different sorts of designs. Pizza, Pasta Amore, that's it, I'm moving to Italy, different types of gelato, and of course the newest design, strict Pizzatarian. So what you're about to see is actually some extra footage from last week, and at the end of the video I wanted to add just a little bit extra, so I'll see you in just a sec. So I get a lot of messages from people or comments on my video about working in Italy, about I have this degree, I have that degree. Or a comment that was left the other day, somebody asked about being a pot dealer in this country, something I have absolutely no clue about, as I don't partake. Or people might say that I have a degree in mechanical engineering or science or economics or this or that. And coming to Italy very well qualified may or may not help you. There are a lot of very well qualified people in this country, so that means in some ways that the work market is actually a bit oversaturated in that sense. But are you a go-getter? Are you somebody who's going to go out there and make it work no matter what? That's more what it comes down to. So when people ask me, can I do this, or can I do that, or can I get this type of job, or can I get that type of job in Italy? Unfortunately, my best response would be, I don't know. Can you? And that's because it depends on you and your specific situation. Your degrees may help you and they may not. Your life experience may help you and it may not. Being flexible, of course, helps no matter what, though. So this is also why I say learn the language, because it will help you to be able to integrate here more, get work here. Or even I was recently contacted about starting a window cleaning business in the country. Well, it could be possible that it might be okay to start something like that. Those types of industries generally have something already in place, especially because there are not so many huge buildings in the country. I mean, they exist. They're not unheard of. It could be that wherever you're thinking about might have an organization or some sort of business in place that already has a good hold on the market. So then it might come down to being in competition with a larger company that's more well established. And very often people go for the more established, but if they have a good reason to go with the new guy, then they might try it out a few times, see how it works. If it works, then they'll go with it. And if not, they'll just go back to who they were using before. And so when people ask me about building any kind of business in Italy, I'll say that it's difficult here. There's a lot more rules and regulations, and especially when it comes to taxes and hiring people, that's very complicated and very different than a lot of other places. So you do need to look into those things first, and starting a business here, making sure that everything is set up in the right way is quite complex. So is it doable? Yes. But can you do it? Maybe. I mean, there are people who do this, but is it something that you feel comfortable and confident enough to do is what it would more come down to. Are you willing to take that risk? If you already have an established business and are doing quite well and can hold on to that, then try to hold on to that for as long as you can. If you can separate yourself from the business, come here. If you can try to recreate something similar, if not the same thing, then run with that. And maybe you can create something where you're having that passive income from your old country and something here in your new country. Whatever you're doing, of course, it's better if you can create a location-free income. Whenever you're moving abroad, there are going to be things that you won't be able to account for, and to be able to be prepared a little bit ahead of time will help make the transition that much easier, which is why I'm always saying if you can, you should try to do it before leaving, and to give yourself some time to be able to try it, because you want to make sure that you like the job, that you're confident in the job, and that it actually is a stable enough income that you could live off of. And before we leave this video off, there are a few more things that I wanted to talk about. A lot of people ask me about visas and getting a work visa to come here. If you're not from the EU and you're not a citizen of Italy, you will need to have your job lined up beforehand with a contract, and that's really the only way of getting a visa for work here. There are self-employment visas that are available, but to the best of my knowledge, those are a little bit more difficult to come by. And maybe that's something we'll talk more about in the future at some point. But one way or another, it takes a lot of dedication to make it work. What is very normal when you move anywhere, moving abroad, the first few years are going to be the most difficult. I'm still in that period myself of just this time when things are a bit more difficult than they should be. But it's also because I've chosen to focus a lot of time on this YouTube channel. So it's kind of like when you're playing a game, you either want to play it on easy mode or hard mode or extreme. I'm just going to say that I'm not playing it on easy mode. And for me, coming to Italy financially made absolutely zero sense. But what I can say is that if you are somebody who's already had a successful business abroad or a successful life somewhere else, it's possible you already have the tools to make a successful life for you here in Italy. It may not be the way you envision it, and it very likely will not be as fast as you envision it to be. It's very possible that you could get a job here immediately, but it is possible that you might not get a job for a few months, or maybe even longer. There will be certain fields where it might be easier to get in, especially if it's a little bit more highly trained, like being a doctor or something like that. But if you had a private practice abroad and you want to do another private practice here, it could take you a little while to build up your clientele again. And that will be the same for any business, especially if you're running your own business and trying to invest in yourself rather than investing your time as an employee. But for sure, without a doubt, if you don't have the drive to make it happen, it will not happen for you. A lot of people do come here for the pizza, pasta, and amore and the overly romanticized part of the country without realizing that it is a real place and people do live here. People do work here. They do try to make lives for themselves here. And you don't just arrive here and then all of a sudden, wow, okay, roll out the red carpet. This is life now. I mean, of course, if you're retired, this is a different situation, but if you're retired, then working here isn't probably something that's a concern to you. And you need to be prepared for the bumps in the road that might come along. Hopefully you don't have any, but it's more than likely there will be at least a few. And those bumps can come in many different forms. It could be financial, it could be social, it could be mental. But the more that you can prepare yourself, the easier it will be. And that is especially true when it comes to the financial side of things. From my own experience, the way I did it, I just jumped in, dived in head first. But it was either that I came when I did and have to build up my life here, which was what I wanted to do anyway, or that I would have to wait God knows how long until I would be financially stable enough and have enough of a foundation in my pocket before arriving here. And that could have taken so much longer. And I didn't want to waste any time. I felt like after 14 years, it was about time to come home on a permanent basis. Very often, it doesn't quite make logical sense to move abroad. But if you have that burning desire in you, if you have that really pushing you, that's really the beginnings of what it takes to make a life for yourself abroad. It is a sacrifice in more than just one way, and it will be a different type of sacrifice for different people. It could mean leaving friends and family back home. It could mean leaving a very stable job. And so if you are leaving that stable job, it is very important to be realistic. It may take you a little while to get back to that standard of living that you were used to in the old country. And I also get a lot of private messages, emails, and comments from people who are interested in studying and getting their masters, asking, should I come to Italy? What should I study? Will I be able to get a job after I get my master's? Will I be able to get a job after I study? Is there any guarantee? Again, I really have to say that the market here is very saturated in many ways. So it's hard to say. Many young Italians who are very well educated are aiming to go off to different countries. So I think that says a little bit about the situation. There are a lot of young Italians who do stay here. I'm not saying it's impossible to get a job here, but I think it's very interesting to look at what the trends are for the country overall. But even there are people who contact me who are interested in studying in Italy and then trying to get a job in Berlin or to get a job in England or Finland or wherever. What I would say overall is study in the place where you intend to work. Also, one thing I really want to make clear is because I get so many questions about studying specifically, I'm really the wrong person to ask about this. If you're wanting to know more about studying and getting into that field, it might be better to speak to recruiters for that job field or to representatives of the university where you're thinking about studying. When it comes specifically to the subject about studying, you'll probably be able to get some more clear answers from them than you might be able to from me. I'm sorry, but I just want to let you know about this before you get in contact. Even though Italy has some amazing schools, if you're thinking about just coming to a place for a master's, maybe you might want to consider Germany, because German educations are very well respected. I'm not saying that Italian education isn't worthwhile or isn't respected. Italy has some really fantastic schools. But I think maybe you might have a little bit more flexibility with a German degree if you're wanting to go someplace in Europe, especially if you're not intending to live here in Italy. But even if you are intending to be here in Italy, they'll probably very well respect a degree from Germany. But if you're wanting to live in Sweden and work in Sweden, then you should probably consider living there. But if you're wanting to live in Italy and make your life here in Italy, then maybe it is worth considering studying here. But it's all up to you. It's about where you want to live your life, what you want to accomplish in your life, where you want to accomplish in your life. Again, there are so many variables here that I would have to go back to the example I mentioned before of if somebody asks me, can I do something? My best response would probably be, I don't know. Can you? But anyway, if you would like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian citizenship, and more, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like, I would really appreciate it, as it does help out. And if you would like to help make more videos like this on a regular basis, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon. Or if you would like to help out just one time, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/support. Or if you would like to get a shirt, a mug, a onesie, or more, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/NYAGGEAR. And that's NYAG gear. And as always, I'm Rafael Di Furia, aka Rafi D is me. Thank you for joining me on another beautiful Friday night. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next Friday. Later.